Penny pulled into my driveway. I was so thankful that it was sunny out and no chance of rain. We were headed to Seattle so I could take my final exam. I was wrapping up a year-long blind training class, and Penny was my instructor. She thought it would be a good idea to test my skills out in the big city. The plan was that I would have my cane and I would be completely blind by wearing my special blackout glasses, which would take away my remaining vision. We would start in the U District because I was most familiar with that area, and then we would take a bus downtown to have lunch at the Pike Place Market. I was glad we were starting in an area I was familiar with, but I was completely jacked up with anxiety. I'm a person who has a very good sense of direction, but navigating a city completely blind was going to be a huge challenge for me. The ride up to Seattle went a lot faster than I wanted. And just like that, we were on the Ave in the U District. Penny asked me to take her to 3 of my favorite places: the Allegro Cafe, the Big Time Brewery, and the Little Thai Restaurant. I started walking south with my cane swinging from side to side, and Penny was walking close behind me. I could feel the pulse in my ear as my heart thumped loudly in my chest. I was petrified of failing this test because I knew the huge benefit this skill would add to my life. I was worried I was going to get disoriented or even lost. I was scared I wasn't going to walk down the sidewalk straight or even cross intersections straight. Crossing a street crooked can get you killed. And even though I was nervous, I was actually enjoying myself. People were interacting with me. They were saying hi, and they were pointing out obstacles that would be in my way, or they would let me know that the light changed so it was safe for me to cross the street. As I blazed my way down the street in total darkness, I realized something kind of cool on this day. Normally when I'm walking around with my cane, my remaining vision allows me to see people jump out of my way like I have a contagious disease. People trip over themselves to get out of my way. You'll see them pin themselves up against a building like they're on a 1,000-foot cliff. That can obviously get old pretty quickly. It's not the kind of attention that I like to seek in life. So on this day, being completely blind, I was completely unaware of people's reaction, and I was able to focus on the task at hand. I could hear when buildings ended and intersections started. I could hear when people were coming towards me or up from behind me. I could even hear when there were recesses in buildings. And my cane gave me so much information, like changes in elevation or obstacles that were going to get in my way. I turned the corner and I started walking up this alley towards the cafe, and Penny questioned to wonder if I was going the right way. I assured her that I was, but I didn't blame her. The Cafe Allegro in the 90s had this amazing sunny east view of the UW campus. But now this large building was built due east. So the cafe is located on a dark alley. A little mishap before I got to the cafe. I started following these guys into an apartment building right before the entrance. I made a little adjustment there, and I let my nose take over. And it followed the strong scent right to the front door. I next took Penny down a little ways the Ave to the Big Time Brewery. And again, my nose and ears gave me assurance that I had arrived, because the recessed tile entrance and the smell of hops were well implanted in my neural network. I dragged her up the street and around the corner for our third and final stop, the Little Thai Restaurant. This restaurant is located in the bottom of a building, and I accepted help from a man to help me find that entrance. He grabbed my arm and started dragging me. I stopped him and said, "Can I please hold your arm?" And he obliged. I had never allowed a stranger to lead me around. And it felt like a pretty big deal, and trusting someone on a different level. Before we went downtown, I needed to use the restroom, so I took Penny over to the university bookstore, where again I allowed a man to lead me up to the second floor bathrooms by his arm, and then I allowed a woman to lead me out of the building with her voice. While I searched for the bus stop across the street, I heard this hysterical woman yelling at me, "Stop! Please, sir, stop, stop!" I obeyed, and she went on to explain that I was going to knock over with my cane all of the trinkets that she had laid out on the ground for sale. She happily turned me around and oriented me to the bus stop, which I found 50 feet away. Being blind and only listening on a crowded bus can be extremely entertaining. And before I knew it, we were downtown. In the bus tunnel, I had no idea how to get out. So again, I had to ask several times for help to find the exit. Now I'm walking down to the waterfront. And in the distance, I can hear this pile driver. I keep walking, and this pile driver keeps getting louder and louder. And I start to get worried. I'm already losing one sense. I'm not really interested in losing another. And this 130 decibels of clanging steel every 2 seconds was not going to work. But I kept moving, and it just got to the point where I had to put my hands over my ears, which took away the use of my cane. No cane, no ears, no vision, game over. So I lifted my blackout glasses and quickly navigated away from that horrific sound. I was unhappy with how abruptly my test ended, but Penny thought that I had done a lot that day and she wanted to call it. We spent lunch sharing stories, and I knew that I would miss Penny. She's an amazing woman who has risked my life way beyond mobility training. And she wanted to make sure that I felt great on this day. She told me she was impressed with how I navigated the busy city streets and how I was able to take multiple forms of information in my decision making as I made my way along the streets. She then paused and she looked at me and she said, "Keith, today you hit it out of the park." My smile was table wide. Her approval meant so much to me. I could finally relax. I was proud of myself. I knew that I had gained a skill that had an immediate and wonderful impact on my life. But this day was much bigger than just that. 10 years ago, I decided to go towards what terrified me the most, being completely blind. And today, I saw that life could be wonderful with no vision, and I could go out into this world all by myself. I was losing a sense, but I was gaining independence. Thank you.